What is the threat intelligence we're actually collecting?
It's not a matter of what, it's what you should be collecting. You definitely want to see what your business actually needs, see what you need, and actually make sure that you're collecting that intelligence across all the different layers.
So there's strategic threats. Then there's the whole TTP things, tactics, techniques, and processes that are what is going on. That's what most people focus on. It's good stuff, it's important stuff, but don't neglect the strategic stuff.
I mean, we're looking for patterns. We can use strategies to help prioritize what that intelligence will look like or how we'll build that intelligence out of the threats and all of that data that we're pulling together to try to make some context to see what our posture is like in terms of the current threat landscape.
One of the things that we're missing about threat intelligence generally is the fact that so much of the information you need may be right out there in public. There's just such an enormous volume of data. Is the really important thing is to understand what is real and what is just people, making noise.
All right, we have Elliot Lewis here, who is the CEO of Kiavi Data. What do you got?
One of the things that people have to think about is the nature of intelligence operations has absolutely changed to a state of warfare. What you need to do is tie your intelligence to the live entities and issues, data, resources to say where are the ones you're interested in, and then get the fog and the screening out so your intel is actually actionable in the moment and you can derive away from the fog.
Countries are coming to grips with, oh, hell, it's a lot cheaper to hire a bunch of geeks and put them behind keyboards than it is to build a missile and a jet and a submarine to deliver these. And I can do just as much damage and I can decide whether I want to take credit for it or not.
Eli Mignall just asked, is the future of data intelligence still human? Can humans move quick enough to separate the real from the false?
We're talking about this art of distraction within threat intelligence. One of the ways to start automating that is to work against that distraction or realize that distraction and build that into the algorithms. The idea is real risk prioritization amongst that data. You want to get that risk measure built in to your prioritization automation, so that you can work around that distraction.
Before you start talking about what actions should be taken, I think it's incredibly important to ask who is taking the actions. One of the big helps with automation and to a certain extent machine learning and AI is actually automating a lot of this, putting some RPA in place so that you're essentially flagging something that really should bubble to the top of their priorities when their priorities are not necessarily cybersecurity, as well as helping the cybersecurity analysts and their teams respond.
Welcome to the Department of Yes, where no request is ever rejected.
Get your threat intelligence from my mother's knitting circle. Why do you want to do that?
Because you don't know whether your mother's knitting circle may also include the former head of the CIA cybersecurity, who in fact does knit and does actually support some of the aerospace companies and is quite an impressive woman.
Collect all data and then sell it on the dark web.
Well, path of least resistance, why wouldn't you do that? It's a lucrative market, and I think we should all fold in and say, accept defeat and just go and go where the money is.
Because basically you're saying to everybody, you pose it as a challenge, gamify it, and say, see if you can hack me, and use it instead of paying for pen testing.
Should you feed InfoSec Twitter into your SIM, or get your threat intelligence from Fox News, all threats are Democratic Party, or CNN, everything's a threat? Which one is worse of the two?
Oh, clearly the Fox CNN one, because neither of them have any idea what they're saying. But actually the InfoSec, that was John Prokops, and I really liked it because actually you could probably find some interesting stuff from that.
Good question just came in from Matthew Bibby. How do you determine who, what providers, ISACs, etc., should provide intelligence to your organization?
What I've recommended, most of my customers and whatnot, I want them to have multiple feeds of intelligence that they're bringing in. Even though we might get in a competitive situation where they're saying, well, I'm collecting your intelligence and then this other intelligence that is your competitor. But I think multiple intelligence feeds is still a good thing because, you want to make sure that you're getting the whole picture.
I don't think you should be allowing a feed in unless you have a very clear understanding of the type of data you're getting and what actions you will take. And by the way, who you is. So what actions each person in your organization would take based on certain findings from that data.
This one came in a little while ago from Ian Pointer. In the context of automation, are our expectations of AI too low, too high, or just right?
I think our expectations are a little too high yet. because I've seen far too many solutions and also industry players push the AI button and say that that's going to solve my problem and automate everything for me. It's just, I think we're still at a state where it's a little bit too high, the expectations.
So I'm going to say, actually, we're not expecting enough from AI at the moment. I think the real magic of AI is it gives you not the answers to questions, but the questions to ask. I don't think we as NI, natural intelligence, have figured out how to use AI properly to get the real benefit out of it. Everyone wants data intelligence to be actionable. Please ask yourselves the question, who is taking the action? And make sure that you have mapped out how the people that are taking the action are getting the information and getting it, as Chris said, properly prioritized so as to take that action.
In all businesses, when they're looking at this problem, is to try to understand what their business is. A lot of companies will just go head first into this and say, I just need this, and I need to find that, panic button that I can hit, and that's going to fix all my problems for me. But I say, if you step back and you look at your business process, get back to those BAUs, business as usual. What does your business actually need? Why do you even need this data in the first place, et cetera, et cetera? Once you answer those questions, it's a lot easier to decide what paths to take when it comes to intelligence.